Hey folks, today we are going to continue on the 10EE. We're going to be working on the cross slide, cleaning up the base of the cross slide, showing you where we are on the cleanup of all the small parts that go into the cross slide and the taper attachment. It's coming along pretty well. I've had a few moments here and there to keep after this thing. As you know, I had to take a break from it to deal with some homestead chores here. Please watch the whole video through. I have a question that I pose to you folks to help me make a decision on something, and I'd be really curious to see what your thoughts are. So, again, appreciate you watching. Please subscribe. I think we're doing pretty decent for a pretty narrow scope of interest on this particular model machine. So. Questions are good, and I enjoy sharing what I'm doing with all you folks. So let's get to work. All right, folks, so let's get started on this cross slide right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some purple cleaner. I want to get all the grease, if there is any on there, off, and then brush it up a little bit, and then see if we can get some rust, I forget the name of that rust, evapro rust, that's what it is, evapro rust. We'll get some of that on there and see if we can get rid of this surface rust. What I'm hoping is that it cleans up kind of nice without having to run it through my surface grinder, which, I might do anyway because it seems like a fun project. There's a little difference in height here. If I were to run it through the surface grinder, I'd probably want to be really careful, take just a skim coat off. It at this point would probably be mostly a cosmetic thing because we'll check it with on my granite plate, see how flat it is. I'm sure it's good. I don't want to slide this around on here because there's some junk here, and I don't want to put any scratches on the ways down here. They're in good shape. I've taken other lathes apart, not ones that are built quite as well as these Monarch lathes, and what I've noticed is on the edges of the ways here, you could see where the area that was not in contact with the mating surfaces stood proud, in some cases like a couple thousandths, maybe even more. And that tells me that, this surface was worn pretty well. I don't see that on this one. So my guess is that the waves in here are pretty good. But we'll check all that when we put it together. We'll see what kind of slop we have. And I'm thinking not very much because most everything on this lathe is good. And it was on the other lathe that I did that was, that's a little bit newer than this one. The first one that I did, the waves on that were actually really good. So let's see what we get. So we'll just keep busy on this. So right here I can tell that this thing has hit the chuck a couple times, maybe just once. Had the same thing on the other lathe. It didn't seem to have done any damage other than the marks that it left here. That's probably got to be a pretty frightening sound, but I don't think there was any damage. Somebody had asked about why go through all the trouble of disassembling everything and painting it up and cleaning the rust off, or just making it look nice, if you will, as opposed to just getting it back together, you know, and using it. And there's a point to be made there. But my experience has been that with these older machines, with all the hardened up grease, dirt, metal swarf that's everywhere, that everything just works better when you take it apart, clean everything and get it back together, properly lubricated, get the old dry junk out of there. So the machine feels like things just work better. And I would suspect that getting that junk out of there probably will help the longevity of the machine because you're not grinding things up. You know, you're getting all the contaminants out of, you know, these, you know, precision mating surfaces. So I think that there's a lot of value in going through this exercise and cleaning everything up and then putting it back together and, you know, doing all the, you know, adjustments and replacing bad bearings. You know, a lot of times what happens is you get these projects done. For me, I really enjoy this part of the project. It's part of the hobby that I enjoy doing. But when I do switch over to starting making something, like I like to make these small little engines, you know, like the external combustion engines, and working on a 9-cylinder radial engine right now that I have, you know, I put to the side for, you know, the last year or so because of other projects. But when I start working on those things, I don't want to have to stop in the middle of what I'm doing and take the lathe or the milling machine apart and have to deal with that. I'd rather just make parts and fixtures and get the project that I'm set out to do done, and maybe put off a project on, you know, cleaning up, or, you know, say something breaks on the milling machine. Well, I'll set that up as a project and I'll go and do that and I'll have fun doing it. But I want it to be planned, and you know how life is. You can plan everything and plan nothing. And so, to the extent that you're in control of your, you know, your daily life, you can control it. All right, let's rinse this off, and we'll see how we did with cleaning this up. All right, so I'm getting ready to get this in some EvapoRust. So today I have, I'm out of EvapoRust, so I have this WD-40 rust remover. That's all they seem to have at the local auto parts place. I've never used it before, don't know anything about it, and we'll give it a try. I suspect these things are all the same chemistry. So here's my cross slide cleaned up from grease and oils and stuff, and washed it down with the purple cleaner. I was hoping to use this little basket right here to soak that thing, but the issue is it wasn't big enough, so I stole this cookie sheet from my lathe. I usually put these in the bottom under the frame of the machine to catch the chips. So let's get this in here. I'm sure I'm going to get some on the ways here. I don't think this stuff really is going to hurt anything, so let's see what we get. We'll let this soak for a while and see if it works as good as the EvapoRust. I'll get this up a little bit to get some stuff underneath there, and, you know, we'll get some of this on the sides. I'm thinking probably not more than 15 or 20 minutes. We'll let it soak, and we'll see what we get. I'll bring it back when we're ready to take it out and clean it up. Okay, folks, so here's after about a 10-minute or so soak in the WD-40 rust remover, using a little bit of maroon Scotch-Brite to kind of get the tougher stuff off, not taking any material off. So it came out pretty good. Sides are good. This side right here, you can see this is where it had the crash sometime in its life, and the ways look nice. So my question for you folks out there watching this project, what do you think about me giving this cross-slide base a spin on the surface grinder? Should I go through and just touch this up and knock some of these battle scars off? Make it, look pretty nice? I have something to deal with right here as this surface is slightly raised from here. I really don't think that taking, say, a couple thou off of here is gonna have much of an impact. I'll measure this difference to see what this surface is relative to that. I could just hit this thing with a little bit of 600 on like, let's say, an aluminum block to, kind of knock some of this off. Again, just thinking about it for, consistency with the rest of the cosmetic work that I've done on it. Same thing on the sides here. I could just take a pass on it, clean that up. This side over here, again, this is a face that is towards the chuck where it, had a, very intimate meeting with the spinning chuck. Yeah, I'm not going to get that out. Obviously, that's going to stay there. So anyway, I would love to know what you guys think. Should I do it? Should I not do it? I'm going to measure this. I think this is actually longer than my Herrig surface grinder can do, so I'd have to move it. So let's measure it. Right, so this thing is, so it's 13 1/4, and I have a 12-inch. So I would have to take two bites at this, and I'm sure you would see the difference. I think on this side right here, maybe not, because, I would change the setup right there. You wouldn't see that. I don't know. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. So I'll throw this up before I keep moving and let you help me make that decision. So in the theme of showing you where I'm at, this right here, this little pile of parts, these are all the bits that go to the cross slide. So you see the lead screw and the gib. This piece right here, I did run through the surface grinder just to take some pretty nasty dents out of it. Well, not dents, but like marks that were left in there from the from dropping tools and stuff on it. So everything here is cleaned up, ready to go. You can see this has been painted, that's been painted, the wiper retainer's been painted, all the hardware. I also did finish painting up all the bits to the taper attachment. So you can see what I've got going on here. I've got all these parts painted and ready to go. One thing I'll point out here, it's kind of interesting in the way that the light looks right there. It looks like there's a lot of orange peel in it. And there is some. This picture looks much worse than it actually is. Don't know why that is. I'm not too worried about it. So the good news here is everything is cleaned up and we're waiting to reassemble, which I'll show you in a future video. I did get all new bearings. There are a bunch of way wipers that go on this. So you see there's one right in there, one on each side, and then there's a whole bunch of bits that go in here, and I have those way wiper retainers soaking right now in the purple cleaner. But I did order all new wipers from Monarch. They should be here in another day or two, so we'll come back to this and I'll show you reassembling this and getting it back on. But right now I'm going to focus on the cross slide so I can get power to this thing and get it fired up.